Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on Packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Little afternoon, almost afternoon my time show for you guys and gals. Let's give you guys a update on the NFL playoffs, more specifically the NFC playoffs, as obviously last night the Detroit Lions improved to 8-5 over the Dallas Cowboys, who fall to 6-6-1. Boy, they beat the brakes off of them at the end of the day, 44-30. A lot of stuff to dive into with this game. We're going to wrap up with showing you guys the updated playoff picture as well. So we'll kind of give you the stat line, what happened in that game, a couple of key injuries that took place that may affect the Lions moving forward as well, and a little bit of comedy on Twitter too. As you guys know, over on X, boy, oh boy, when the Cowboys lose, there's plenty of material. So we'll dive into all of that, get you kind of set for the games this weekend so you know exactly what's on the line in terms of the playoff picture. Before we do, if you guys would do that YouTube stuff for me, hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your day. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media members. We're fans just like you talking Packers on a daily basis. And yeah, if you're looking for that type of content, make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. Like right now, this was just a random stream. Threw it together real quick. Let's get in here, talk a little NFL playoffs and jump into everything there. So appreciate everybody in the chat already hopping in here. We got Elijah Gwynn in the house. Good morning to you, sir. We got Robert in here. What's good to you, man? Jake in the house. First one for the day. That's right. Robert, that was crazy yesterday. Chet says, we live, baby. Go Pack, go. Have a great show, Clayton. Hit that like button. Appreciate you, Chet. Thank you so much for swinging through, man. The drive, completely agree. The drive. He says, losing CD hurt the boys. It hurt bad, man. He was on one, right? We'll talk about it a little more in detail, but he finished the day with 6 catches, 121 yards, along with 37 on 8 targets, and obviously had to leave for what we're expecting to be a concussion, I would imagine. That's what it looked like for sure. Robert, that's another storyline here too, right? Pickens looking uninterested yesterday, man, multiple times. And that was the problem with George Pickens. I think it was the first year that I started doing podcasting and got on board here with Packernet. And we were kind of going through the draft process, and that was what kept popping up with George Pickens was discipline stuff, right? Things where he had gotten in trouble, I think, with a coach. I think he spit on somebody as well. There's just a lot of different things around George Pickens in college that made you go, man, he's got a ton of talent, but is it worth the headache? Obviously, it wasn't worth it for Mike Tomlin to keep him. They trade him to Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, and now he's their problem. And it's kind of weird, too, that you had Jerry Jones had problems with Micah Parsons' agent, David Mulligetta, right? Which the Packers have no problems working with him. That's also Jordan Love's agent as well. However, you trade for George Pickens, you get him there. He looks uninterested now. You have the fallout with Dak, or not Dak. You had the fallout with Micah Parsons, and of course, during that fallout, you have a strong beef, Jerry Jones with David Mulligetta, his agent. Guess what? That's George Pickens' agent too. Now George Pickens is half-assing routes, not even trying for catches. Looked really, really uninterested. Completely agree, man. It's a mess in Dallas. And again, for the Cowboy fans that keep saying, oh, man, Jerry fleeced the Packers with the Micah Parsons thing, they came out better at the end of the day. I think they came out pretty good with Quinnen Williams, right? The problem is, what about everything else? I think Dak's a good quarterback. Now, you've seen passes literally bouncing off of George Pickens' hands and flying right into the Detroit Lions defenders' hands. They've got some pieces in place. CD, obviously, a good receiver. But, man, oh, man, it just seems like they're not – I don't think they've got the right head coach. They definitely don't have the right defensive staff. That's something that's destroying them right now as they went out and got Kenny Clark. They went and got Quinnen Williams, right? Now, you lose Micah, but in my opinion, if you're going to lose Micah, you want to pick up a dominant defensive tackle like you did with Quinnen Williams. And Kenny, we know his best football is behind him, still a strong piece. It could be, but boy, that defense is a mess right now. It's it's going to be absolutely wild to see how everything unfolds. What's up, Andy? Appreciate you swinging through. All right, let's jump into it, guys. Thank you all so much. I see Jen in here. We got Nemus in here. Thank you so much. Let's see what Nima says. I don't usually get to catch the live streams. How exciting. Go Packers. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in whenever you can, guys. That's why we post the videos separate later. I'll take the live stream, edit it into a video form because some people just come through the videos tab as opposed to the live streams. And we'd love to have you guys and gals live, but at the same time, if you can't get in here, we completely understand. Let's do it. Let's get into the box score here as the Detroit Lions defeat the Dallas Cowboys 44-30. Jared Goff continues to play good football, guys. 25 of 34, 309 yards passing, 1 touchdown, no pick. He was sacked 1 time for a loss of 10 yards. Dak Prescott, on the other hand, the stats look good other than the picks, right? And again, that's where you got to really watch the tape, and you'll see the adjusted completion percentage, things like that will apply in this situation where he hit George Pickens right in the hand. I believe it was George Pickens that it bounced off his hands, went right to the defender. He finished today 31 of 47, 376 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times for a loss of 50 yards. Can't let that happen. Got to get rid of the ball, man. You losing that much yardage, it's going to crush you. In terms of the Detroit Lions rushing game, David Montgomery led the way, 6 carries, 60 yards. He averaged 10 yards a pop with a touchdown along at 35. Jahmyr Gibbs, 12 carries, 43 yards, 3 touchdowns with a long of 19 there as well. In terms of receiving, Jameson Williams, he's going to be a problem, guys. 9 targets, 7 catches, 96 yards. Had a great day there. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown, 9 targets, 6 catches, 92 yards. Jahmyr Gibbs caught 7 passes, all 7 targets for 77 yards. Made a defender look absolutely silly on the sideline attempting to tackle him as well. And it seemed like Brian Branch had a fumble recovery. We'll talk about his injury here on the backside shortly. In terms of defense, Jack Campbell had a game, 12 tackles, 6 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. Really showed up to play. This, I know I'm going to butcher the name, Al-Qaden Muhammad, 3 sacks on the day for him. I mean, he went absolutely off. Hutchinson, another 0, another blank, another goose egg for him. So he doesn't seem to be playing too well right now. Maybe the tape would suggest they're double and triple teaming him like they're doing Micah. I don't know. Derek Barnes had a tackle for a loss as well. So did Aleem McNeil, who also had a sack, one of those sacks there. So again, the story of the day for me, Jared Goff protecting the football, being efficient in the passing game. The running game was on point as well. David Montgomery saying, hey, I'll tote the rock for us this week. Even though it was less carries, a lot more production for him. And, of course, the defense getting 5 sacks. You're going to get a lot of sacks like that when the team is playing from behind like the Dallas Cowboys were. Now, when you look at the Dallas Cowboys side in terms of defense, probably not much to see there other than James Houston had a sack with the interceptions. Who had the interceptions for the Lions? So Derek Barnes had an interception and DJ Reed had an interception. So that is the box score. That's kind of how that all unfolded there. Now, let's have a little fun with it here. Let's go over to Twitter. This cracked me the heck up. Somebody tweeted this out. Brian Bayer, if I'm saying that right, or Behar maybe. Is this really the Dallas Cowboys trainer? He looks like one of the guys who let Jack Ruby shoot Lee Harvey Oswald. This broke me up. As soon as I read the tweet and scrolled down with my eyes, I went, oh, boy, he crushed that tweet. Absolutely. Who is this guy? Was he wearing – what is going on over here, right? And if you guys are wondering what that means, this is what he's referring to. Obviously, this cat right here, my man stole his hat. And listen, Skip Bayless as well. You guys go check out his video over on X. Wild watching Skip. I mean, Skip is just so defeated. What happened to all that energy, Skip? It was just a few weeks ago, man. You were bashing the Packers and how stupid this trade was, and Micah this and Micah that, and boy, we won the trade. My goodness. Life comes at you fast. That's all I got to say, all right? I'll tell you, life comes at the Lions fast too here. Now, listen, we don't wish injury on anyone, right? It's so tacky. We got Bears fans doing that this week, and listen, it's a minute amount. You shouldn't judge an entire fan base based off of a handful of people who are knuckleheads. But I don't care how much I hate a team, how much I want a team to fail. Never root for injuries, right? This one's a tough one. Tom Pelissero tweets out, Lions standout defensive back Brian Branch is feared to have suffered an Achilles injury on Thursday night. Sources tell me and Rap Sheet. Branch will have further tests this morning, but another potential blow to a Detroit team coming off a huge win. Now, listen. Forget the injury for a minute. Let's just say it's hard to forget the injury. They're going to be without one of their better players. If you were to draw a scenario for me and say, okay, do you want the Cowboys to win or the Lions to win? I told you guys I want the Cowboys to win because they had the worst record, right? I want the Lions and the Cowboys to kind of beat each other down a little bit, okay? In this case, the Lions get the win and smack the Cowboys down the standings a touch in the playoff race, and then they lose a huge part of their team here in Brian Branch. Kirby Joseph's already been banged up. We talk about how injured they are. They lost Sam Laporta just like we lost Tucker Kraft. So this is kind of one of those situations where they lose another player even though they got the win. This is going to hurt them moving forward. So it kind of puts their backs even more against the wall. Maybe, I don't want to say more so than Dallas. I think they got a better shot to make the playoffs than Dallas, but this is a huge blow. And again, it's a team that just gave up 30-some points to the Dallas Cowboys, right? Even with Branch playing most of the game, if he had. So again, just a huge, huge blow there for the Detroit Lions. And they continue to get banged up as the season goes along. Now, I've seen people going, yeah, karma's a B. I understand that too, man. Brian Branch is one of those guys. Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, they're considered dirty players most of the time. They talk a lot of trash. They've embraced that whole Dan Campbell, we're going to be the bullies of the league. Boy, they're getting their asses kicked this year in terms of injuries, that's for sure. Let's talk about the playoff picture and how everything falls into place here. And if you guys would hit that like button for me, let's boost this stream. Appreciate y'all jumping in here. Even though it's non-Packers related, it's kind of Packers related because we're going to talk playoff race. I think it's important to kind of keep our finger on the pulse with all this stuff. So the current seeding across the NFL in terms of playoffs, right? In the AFC, the number 1 seed is the New England Patriots. The 2 seed is the Denver Broncos. The 3 seed is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The 4 seed is the Baltimore Ravens at 6-6. Boy, that AFC North has really tanked this year. The number 5 seed is the LA Chargers. The 6th seed is the Indianapolis Colts. Remember when they were the darling of the league? They were like, kind of could be the best team in the league. They're all the way down to the 6th seed now as well. The Buffalo Bills are in the 7th seed at 8-4 as well. And like I said, the Patriots are leading the way there at 11-2. Now let's switch over to the NFC, the more important part for us Packer fans, right? I see that. That's what she said. You guys are out of control in the chat. I love it. Number 1 seed, your Chicago Bears at 9-3. Number 2 seed, the LA Rams at 9-3. The 3 seed is currently the Philadelphia Eagles at 8-4. The 4th seed is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7-5. Another team that started off really hot, and they've kind of really dwindled off here. The number 5 seed, the Seattle Seahawks at 9-3. Your Green Bay Packers are currently in the 6th seed at 8-3-1. And then the 7th seed is the San Francisco 49ers at 9-4 currently as that sits. Again, that tie helping the Packers out quite a bit, right? So that's how it sits right now going into this weekend's slate of games. Let's talk about some of those games, some of the matchups, okay? I'm going to randomly go through and just pick just on a fly who I think would have the best chance of winning these games. And then we'll kind of talk about some of the the ramifications of these games. Okay. Dolphins at the Jets. Let's go Dolphins there. All right. Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. Guys, that is a battle. I'm pretty sure if we scroll down here, the AFC North, Baltimore 6-6, Pittsburgh 6-6. The AFC North is on the line. That's going to be a game to watch right there. That would be a fun one. Those teams, no matter how bad the records are, they come out there and they fire on all cylinders. They knock the snot out of each other. Some of those cold weather games can be played up there, obviously, in the Northeast. That should be a fun one to watch. On the surface, you guys know how I do this. Head coach versus head coach. Who's the better head coach, Harbaugh or Tomlin? Kind of a push for me. Both of them have won Super Bowls. Both of them are kind of a well-rounded coaches. Some I think both lean more towards special teams as their background, probably more defensive than offensive. We're going to call it a push. Quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers, the 2025 version of Aaron Rodgers with that swollen up nose. God love him. He took a beating last week, right? And you get the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson, who hasn't been playing great football, and he's been banged up as well. I'm going to give the edge to Baltimore there. When you talk about defensively, pass rush, all that stuff, along with offensive line, who's got the edge? Probably going to be the Steelers there. It's going to be a close game. It's on the road in Baltimore. I'm going to give the edge to Baltimore in this one. Moving on, the Saints at the Buccaneers. How are the Saints faring right now? They are 2-10. The Bucs are 7-5. Saints ain't got much to play for. The Bucs do. We're going to go with the Bucs there in that particular game. Colts at the Jaguars. Jaguars have been playing pretty good football. They're now 8-4. They're the 3 seed, right? I'm going to say they're playing better ball than the Indianapolis Colts, and it's at home in Jacksonville. Let's pick the Jaguars there. And then we'll go Titans at the Browns. I think it's that's going to be the toilet bowl this week, right? So the Browns, how are we looking with them right now? Cleveland is 3-9. The Titans are absolutely horrible. It's in Cleveland. Let's go Cleveland there. Commanders at the Vikings. The Commanders at the Vikings. This is going to be an interesting one. So the Vikings been struggling all year long. They're sitting at 4-8. The Commanders are sitting at 3-9. They continue to underperform. Let's go with the Vikings here. All right, we're going to give them the dub. The Seahawks at the Falcons. The Seahawks are currently 9-3. The Falcons are currently 4-8. It's on the road in Atlanta. I would love to see the Falcons win that ball game, but I think Seattle's going to win it. We've got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Buffalo Bills. I'm going to go with, actually, the Bills have been struggling a bit here lately. 8-4 is where they're at. The Bengals have got Burrow back now, and the Cincinnati Bengals are probably going to be playing better football down the stretch, although the playoffs are not really within reach, I don't believe, realistically. I'm going to go with the Bills at home there. Broncos at the Raiders. We're going Broncos. Bears at the Packers. All right. So we're going to save that for last and talk about what that means, okay? Rams at the Cardinals. That's the division rival. Throw the records out the window. You never know what's going to happen there. If I had to put money on it right now, I would say I would go with the Rams over the Cardinals. The Cardinals are sitting at 3-9. So let's say the Rams get the dub there. They now jump up to the number 1 seed before the Packers and the Bears play. Texans at the Chiefs. I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs. And then you got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Chargers. The Chargers are sitting at 8-4. The Eagles are sitting at 8-4. It's in LA, but you guys know that might as well be a home game for the away team. Which team's playing better right now? Probably the Chargers, just on the surface. I'm going to go with the Chargers there, guys. I'm going to say the Chargers win that ball game, okay? So the Eagles will fall to 8-5. So now it comes down to the Packers and the Bears. So nothing's really changed here other than the Bears drop from the 1 seed to the 2 seed before they play, because the Rams beating the Cardinals would climb to the 1 seed. So let's say the Bears beat the Packers. Let's start with the bad case scenario. If the Bears beat the Packers, they jump back up to the 1 seed, and the Packers fall to the 7 seed. Moral of the story is, if everything goes wrong for the Packers this weekend, they lose to the Bears, all of these teams, I'm pretty sure I picked the teams like worst case scenario for the Packers. Like I didn't have the Falcons upsetting the Seahawks. I didn't have the Cardinals upsetting the Rams. I didn't have, maybe the only thing is probably the Eagles there, right? With the Eagles, I've got them being beat by the Chargers. Matter of fact, let's pick the Eagles. Nothing changes there, right? So we'll stick with our pick. With that being said, what the moral of the story is, if everything goes wrong for the Packers this week, we're still the number 7 seed at 8-4-1. Now let's talk about if the Packers beat the Bears. Let's see if anything changes here, okay? If the Packers beat the Bears, boy, oh boy, the Packers are in first place in the North. Not only are they first place in the North, they are the number 2 seed in the NFC. Meaning we're going to host a playoff game. And guess what? That would be the Chicago Bears traveling to Lambeau Field. Once again, cold weather football at Lambeau for the playoffs. That's how that would unfold if the Packers beat the Bears and everything else hit the way that we're kind of projecting here. Now, let's say that the Rams do get upset by the Cardinals and the Packers do defeat the Chicago Bears. All right. So if the Cardinals get that win, the Seattle Seahawks now jump to the number 1 seed over the Packers at 10-3. Okay. So if the Cardinals beat the Rams and the Falcons somehow, some way upset the Seahawks, your Green Bay Packers will be the number 1 seed. So obviously we're Falcons fans this weekend. We're Cardinals fans this weekend. Both, if any, are probably not going to happen. Right. But if you can get one of those, that could put you in a position to potentially have the number 1 seed moving forward if you take care of business with the Bears this weekend. Again, with that same scenario, we go back and the Bears win that ball game. The Packers still fall to the 7th seed. The Bears fall to or jump to the 1 seed. So you see what's on the line here, guys. Whoever wins this matchup between the Packers and the Bears is basically got a shot to be the number 1 seed if everything goes right for them. Bare bones minimum, they would be the number 2 seed. Like if Seattle wins and the Rams win, then the Bears will still hold the 1 seed, actually. The LA Rams would fall to the 2 seed because of the tiebreakers. That's what you've got on tap this weekend in terms of the playoff hunt and what's going to kind of come into effect here with the Packers and the Bears. Again, I think the Packers have a good shot at winning at home. I think the Bears have a good shot at winning at home here in a couple of weeks. I've got them splitting, just reevaluating everything, kind of where both teams are. I can see them splitting these games. Now, the Bears may win at Lambeau and the Packers go to Chicago on the road and they win that game. I could see either team winning both games too. It's really that close to me. It's going to come down to the Bears defense and whether they continue to take the ball away and whether the Packers protect the football. That's essentially what's propping these Chicago Bears up big time. Their offense is playing good, don't get me wrong, with the exception of Caleb Williams, who we've talked about his inefficiency, right? If they had Jared Goff as their starting quarterback, the Bears would be terrifying the hell out of me right now. That's how well Ben Johnson's got them playing. But the fact that they've got Caleb Williams in there, that if you could take away that run game and make him play within the pocket and be a pocket quarterback, I don't think they can go very far. I think there's a lot of people that believe the same thing. Now, doesn't mean Caleb Williams can't get hot right now and go on a run. that could be the same as well here. So Nick McSwain in the chat, not looking forward to the meltdowns if the Packers lose this Sunday. Nick, you've got to mute those people, man. We've seen it all year long. Like those same people, or those are the same people that were calling for Matt LaFleur's job, right? They thought he should be fired after he lost that second game by 3 points. I'm telling you, the best thing you can do is either hit mute or block, and don't even follow them on social media because they are so high strung. They are so, if anything, any little glimpse of what could go wrong. You know what I've noticed about them? That I think it's their defense mechanism, that they don't want to be let down. If Lord forbid something doesn't fall perfectly into place, they want to be able to fall back on, well, see, I told you this was going to happen. And then if things don't go wrong, they were right. If things do go, or if things do go right or whatever, moving down the forward, they get quiet, right? Because they're happy their team's winning. I think it's one of those things where they just don't want to be let down. But regardless, man, I have no interest in connecting with those folks, man. Anybody who goes into this game and thinks this is a slam dunk win for the Packers, then that's the only way that you could justify coming out of this game if they were to lose to the Bears and be like, okay, the sky's falling, right? So if you're a realistic fan and you actually look at how the Bears are playing some of their best football right now, winning these close games, right? And the Packers have been on a tear here lately as well. One of these teams is going to have a slight letdown, right? And the team that does have a slight letdown this week will probably have a good shot of rebounding in a couple of weeks, barring any crazy injuries. So that's just kind of how I see it, man. That's how I always look at that scenario. Nick McSwain says Caleb has the lowest completion percentage under pressure this year, right? But you got to go, if you go watch the tape too, Nick, and I know you do, I'm sure you do. If you go look at how they won those games, those close games, it's Caleb scrambling out of the pocket, making plays at the last second. When I say plays, mostly with his feet, but creating secondary windows to throw, holding the ball longer. So it's easy to kind of look at that and go, okay, we need to get pressure on them. We need to blitz, right? Well, I kind of feel like we need to bring a cage rush, because with the cage rush, you can play more gap sound, more gap discipline in the run game and make him throw from within the pocket. And you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You can harness their running game better that way, like we did with Detroit and Jahmyr Gibbs, holding him to whatever it was, 20 carries for 60-some yards. But also you make Caleb, you take away his ability to make those plays outside of the pocket too by having that cage rush. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. You guys let me know in the comments what you think, how y'all feel about it. Biz says, not looking forward to Bears fans at the Packers. That's what everybody's pretty much saying, right? Let's see here. Yasmin in the chat, or they are Bears, Vikings, Lions, Cowboys fans trolling. See, that's the thing too. I'm glad you brought that up. Most of the time, those people that tweet like that, I love to go to their profile before I block them. I go to their profile and go, look at there. They've got 13 followers and they only tweet negative stuff about the Packers. But they're Packer fans? Yeah. Burner account, block, move along, right? That's the way I do that. So here we go. Robert in the chat. Clay, do you think we need to spy Caleb? It depends on what you mean by spy. Most people, when they say spy, they think Madden, right? That linebacker that's going to sit right in the middle of the field, and whatever the quarterback does, he mirrors him, right? There's multiple ways you can do this. What the Packers like to do mainly last year, and they've done a little bit this year too, it's why you didn't have high sack totals against like a Bryce Young and some of these mobile quarterbacks, but you have a lot of sacks. You notice you get a lot of pressure on the pocket quarterbacks because they're pinning their ears back and they're actually going after the quarterback. But when you play these mobile quarterbacks, there's multiple things you can do. You can do that traditionally with a stack backer and have him spy, right? You can do that. But what Jeff Hafley likes to do is two different things, what we call a cage rush, where you'll notice these are the people that cherry pick the film on people like Rashawn Gary and even Devontae Wyatt before he started it. You notice Devontae Wyatt came alive against some of these pocket passing quarterbacks because they let him pin his ears and go after the quarterback. But what these guys will do, and I won't mention their names specifically. You know who they are. They're the 4-letter network that covers the Packers. They love to cherry pick the thing. Go, look, can you believe this? A tight end blocked Rashawn Gary. How ridiculous is that? You're paying this guy all this money and he can't even beat a tight end. And anybody who's got two brain cells to rub together can watch the tape, can watch the end zone cam and go, he's not really going after the quarterback. He's kind of playing patty cake. Some call it a mush rush. A cage rush is you're slowly compressing the pocket, eyes on the quarterback, do not let them scramble. That's what they're doing. And they chalk it up as a bad rep for Rashawn Gary. PFF probably does the same thing. But if you understand what they're trying to do as a defense, it's not to pin their ears back and go after the quarterback so he can step up and out or jab step like Caleb does and roll outside of the pocket. It's you're kind of making them play quarterback and slowly collapse in the pocket, right? That's a cage rush. The other thing you can do is what we call a touch spy, which Jeff Hafley did a lot last year with Kenny Clark. And I think it had a lot to do with Kenny Clark's injury he had. He couldn't truly drive to get upfield onto the quarterback. So they said, you know what? If we put him in the one tech and let him play a touch spy is what we call that, a touch spy. Now, the other thing you can do is a sugar spy where the backer will mug the A gap. He'll sugar a blitz. He'll fake a blitz, and then he'll drop back in a shallow spy, right? What you're doing is you're occupying that offensive lineman because they got to set the protection to account for that A gap mug as if he's a blitzer. So you take that offensive lineman out of the protection because he's just kind of blocking no one, and you're spying. With the touch spy, you'll put those big boys, one of those big boys, and last year it was Kenny a lot of the time. You put him in an A gap, right? In a one tech, and he'll touch the guard and the center. He'll occupy that double team, put hands on both of them, and you can see he's not rushing the quarterback. He's faking a rush. He's kind of just a little mush rush, and his eyes are on the quarterback waiting for him to scramble, and then he'll break off and go to take away those inside throwing lanes. Most of the time they do that touch spy with an outside rush because what they're wanting the quarterback to do is fill the outside rush, step up, and then try to go out of the pocket, and you've got a 300-pound defensive lineman who's playing patty cake ready to shed and take down the quarterback. That's a touch spy. So you got a touch spy, a cage rush, and you got the traditional spy. And the cage rush is essentially what you call a contain, right? They're rushing and not allowing the quarterback to get outside of the pocket, right? And typically when you're rushing under control like that, if the quarterback tries to fake outside and step up, you're already prepared. Your eyes are on him. You're not truly pinning your ears back and going. You can shed and make the tackle on the quarterback. That's why the sack numbers and the pressure numbers go down against mobile quarterbacks with Jeff Hafley. And it's also why I know the casual fan gets so mad when there's not a high sack total against a Bryce Young who has a horrible offensive line, but also look at the scrambling yards or lack thereof for these mobile quarterbacks when you play it that way. So again, the NFL, man, you can't take everything away. You can't take away the pass, the run, and get to the quarterback. You've got to pick and choose, and it all comes down to tendencies. What does this team like to do in these certain situations? You build your call sheet based off of that. What passing, what route combinations, what passing concepts are they using out of 3x1 or 1x3 or a 2x2 or even their 12 personnel, which a lot of teams are passing out of 12 personnel because the EPA per play has increased significantly across the league, throwing out of 12 personnel. Matt LaFleur's done a lot of it. So again, these are just, it's not as easy as, well, we just can't get pressure on the quarterback. And when you see those fans saying that stuff in the same breath of calling for a head coach's job or calling for a DC's job or calling for Rashawn Gary to be cut, it's like, what do? Do you respond to them on social media and try to dunk on them? I don't want to do that. I'm not on social media to argue. I'm on social media to connect with like-minded fans and enjoy the football season, right? So you just got to kind of roll your eyes and let it go. Now, when they jump in the chat, when they come knock on my door, they'll hear it, right? So hopefully that answered your question, right? I know it was a long-winded question or long-winded answer, but that's how I see it. It's not as simple as just a spy. Touch spy, cage rush, traditional spy, cage rush being, consisting of the contain, all that good stuff. So I wanted to do a 12-minute video. It's 28 minutes in. Thank y'all so much for jumping in here and hanging out with us. We really, really appreciate it. Do us a big favor. Smash that like button. You guys are crushing it. Every time you hit that like button, you get us closer to 7,000 subs because it boosts the algorithm and more fans get to see this channel and know that it exists. We greatly, greatly appreciate everyone. If this is your first time tuning in to us, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. Like tonight, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live, we're going to show the deep dive matchup between our defense against the Chicago Bears offense. We're going to show the PFF grades. We're going to show the NFL Pro Next Gen Stats data and kind of give you guys a better idea of where some of the detailed matchups may lie within this Chicago Bears offense and this great running attack they've got and the Packers defense, which has been really, really good under Jeff Hafley. So appreciate everybody. Y'all have a great day. Stay warm out there. I know it's chilly down here in Tennessee. We will see you guys a little later. Probably do another one around 2:30 or 3 o'clock. So just keep that bell icon clicked for sure. But my name's Clayton. This is PTA. Go Pack, go.
We're out.
Bye, guys.